Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Okay, let's take a look at how things are going. Should have had this ready, but it wasn't, and I typed in the wrong code. Okay, current blood sugar is 8.7. Still got quite a bit before I need to calibrate again, but we normally calibrate at noon anyway. I have 1 day left on this sensor. So every Sunday, it's change sensor day. Okay. I was pretty steady all day and I picked up now and we'll see how I go. Hopefully I'll even out. Blood sugar is at 85%. Not blood, sorry. Time in range is 85%. It's been up since about 3 today, so no, sorry, it was 5 today. But I'm still feeling kind of out of it. Okay, so 15% above. We have to work on that. Down here, it's at 8.3. So all pretty good. Today, I want to discuss eating at a fancy restaurant. And for this video, we're going to be talking more about actually sitting down at a full service restaurant or at flying in the air and what you can do. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Okay, so you decided you're going out to that new fancy restaurant that opened up. Excuse me. And you're going to go there and you're just going to sit in there and you're going to be given a menu and you're just going to choose whatever appeals to you. Right? No. You need to do a little bit of research. With the use of this or your home computer, an iPad, whatever, if you look up your restaurant that you're going to, you could find a list of the menus. Then you can sort of choose what you'd like, and when you go there, sit down. When everyone's opened up and can choose right off go, you have to worry about how much carbs, how much salt, how much fats are in dishes. So you could play the game of opening up the menu and going, oh yes, that looks interesting, and that looks interesting, but I think I'm going to have this. Do your homework before you go. It works out a lot better. You can see what's usually in, not proportions, but you can see what's in an item. And if you have any questions, you can call and speak to the maitre d' or the owner and have your questions answered so that you can choose the best meal that fits all the requirements of your checkoff list that you and your doctor may have gone through. Pretty simple, right? Of course it is. Now, I've talked to you in nauseam about going through fast foods, and if you actually go into a fast food restaurant, you can ask for a list of what their fats are, what the carbohydrates of certain items are, so that you can best guess. Because you remember, if you're not giving your proper amount of insulin, I hate to say it, chances are you'll give too much, or worse, too little, too less. No, that's not the correct terminology. But you want to be able to have a meal, get out of the meal, keep your blood sugar within lines. The 2 lines, the magical 2 lines. So fast foods, you can easily do that. You can take a look at books. I've showed you a book before, I've reviewed it here. I think it's called Food King's Fat Carbohydrate Counter book. But there's many others that have fast food restaurants. Personally, when I used to drive for work, I used to have one in the glove compartment if I was traveling by vehicle. In my briefcase, I'd have a small book, somewhere where I could always access it. Nowadays, a lot of times, you can pull, let's see if I can bring it up here. Is it on here or did I clear it? I think I cleared it. But you could get an app that counts your carbs. These are great, but while they'll count your carbs, they don't always count your fats. And if you're really doing low carb, you really want to know what your fats are, and you also want to know what your carbohydrates. It's important to remember, if you're going to choose a fast food restaurant, pretty much everything there will have sugar in it. You could choose to go with the salads, but even their dressing usually has more sugar in it than ones you would buy off the shelf. I used to hate having to try to count proteins and fats, and now I'm lucky it's done for me. I know what I'm getting, but if I go out and have a meal outside, then things are taken care of. Now, next, with the advent of airlines that are budget airlines, having food in the air is getting smaller unless you're doing international, across the country. And sometimes you're just given, in their in-flight magazine, they have pages of menu items which are available. The problem with that is they don't offer carb counts. So if you're flying on insulin and you have to give an insulin injection based on what you're eating, that's not going to work too well. If you're on a flight which meal service is available, when you're booking your flight, you can request a diabetic meal. There's also kosher, there's also a whole bunch. And they're usually fairly good. A lot of times they're a lot better than what they're serving the other people. So just remember that, but you have to do it in advance. You can't sort of show up at the gate or the check-in desk and say, oh, yes, I want the diabetic meal. It has to be done ahead of time. You will get what you need. So, is there an excuse for you for not finding out how much carbs? You could get the car app on here. You can buy a book. The books are relatively inexpensive. And make sure you get one that offers fast food as well. You need to check the restaurant you're going to and see if they post their menus. A lot of times I can remember our department, it would be like payday on a Friday, and everyone was sort of in the office. So at lunch they decided, hey, we're gonna go get food. So I would quickly look online and see what was available at the place we were going. I would walk in and have my choice made. It takes a couple of seconds, but sitting there going and saying, okay, I have this, I need to add the carb, I need to minus the fat and fiber, is going to draw more attention, especially when you are not on an insulin pump and would have to get up and go to the bathroom and give yourself a shot. So you don't want anything sort of, itchy eye, draw attention to yourself. You know, a lot of times in years past, you were kind of pointed out saying, oh, well, you're the diabetic. The best thing I had was when our department secretary became a diabetic. Well, she was gestational, but still. So she knew that if I was flying into Dallas or whatever, that I would have appropriate meals. But I learned exactly what sort of foods I needed in order to make sure my blood sugars. And nothing's worse than getting into a new city and you're, oh, I'm just so high. Oh, I don't have energy. Below, I just want to sleep. Doesn't work well. So here are things you're going to have to look for. If you're going out and eating at a fast food restaurant, I know I called this fancy, but if you're going out to eat at a fast food restaurant, make sure that you take a look at your food guides to see what they have listed for menus. You may have to ask them for a list at the restaurant, and that's usually, I know McDonald's for a while, was putting it on the backside of the tray liners. They have them posted on the wall in most restaurants, so you can go take a look. For more of a fancier sit-down place, look online, call ahead. Sometimes it's not as popular as it needs to be, but sometimes they will list the carbs and such in each item. Hopefully we'll get to that. Right now they don't, so you will have to take a look. And sometimes there's pictures, so you'll be able to decide how much carbs are in a certain meal. If you're flying, see if there is meals provided. If there isn't, and they say you can buy stuff on the plane, make sure you have a credit card, because a lot of times that's the only thing they will accept. They won't accept debit in the air. So there's that. Second of all, take a look in the airline you're carrying with in their online magazines, because you can get a copy online and just see what they're offering, and you can pretty well do your carb counting by then and know that, okay, I'm going to be stuck on this plane for a couple of hours. I'll need something to eat. Now, if it's within your home country, or here, if it's within Canada, you don't have to really worry about buying food at the airport and taking it in. But again, things like that, do your research. Carb counting, going out to eat, is no more difficult than it would be at home. But remember to look for hidden sugars. You'll be surprised how many of them there are out there. I can't speak today. And with that, I hope that's helped a bit, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.